All right, we want to take you to the White House now, where the President of the United States and China's Vice Premier are signing phase one of a new limited trade deal. Let's watch.
Thank you very much, please. We greatly appreciate your joining us at this White House event. This is a very important and remarkable occasion. Today we take a momentous step, one that has never been taken before with China, toward a future of fair and reciprocal trade as we sign phase one of the historic trade deal between the United States and China. Together we are righting the wrongs of the past and delivering a future of economic justice and security for American workers, farmers, and families. I want to thank President Xi, who is watching as we speak, and I'll be going over to China in the not too distant future to reciprocate. But I want to thank President Xi, a very, very good friend of mine. We're representing different countries. He's representing China, I'm representing the U.S., but we've developed an incredible relationship. But I want to thank him for his cooperation and partnership throughout this very complex process. Our negotiations were tough, honest, open, and respectful, leading us to this really incredible breakthrough. Most people thought this could never happen. Should have happened 25 years ago, by the way, but that's okay. A man who also has become a good friend of mine and somebody who's very, very talented and very capable. We're delighted to be joined by Vice Premier Liu He and Ambassador Shui and many other representatives from the People's Republic of China. We are especially proud of the efforts of Vice President Mike Pence, who is with us. And Mike, I'd like to have you say a few words, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's an honor to be here with you, with Vice Premier Liu He, with our Treasury Secretary, with Ambassador Lighthizer, with so many distinguished guests, members of Congress, governors from around the country. This is a good day for America, China, and the world, and it's an honor to be with you. Mr. President, we gather here today thanks to your leadership at a time that the American economy is booming. With the strong support of members of Congress who are gathered here, we are now experiencing an economy that's created more than 7 million jobs. Unemployment rate is at a 50-year low. The average American's household income has risen by more than $5,000. That's all a result of your commitment to cut taxes, roll back regulation, unleash American energy. But it also reflects your commitment to free, fair, and reciprocal trade. Early in this administration, you made it clear that the era of economic surrender was over, and you took a strong stand for American jobs and American workers. You said to our friends in China that things had to change, and thanks to your leadership, today the change begins. Thanks to your efforts, Mr. President, we announced today great progress on protecting intellectual property, on preventing forced technology transfer and currency manipulation. And I know it means so much to you. The greatest impact may well be on American agriculture. Some $40 to $50 billion in purchases secured in this deal that'll result in greater prosperity for farmers all across the land. Mr. President, your commitment to a growing and prosperous America has been the centerpiece of your leadership. And today, with the signing of phase one, is one more example of your commitment to put American jobs and American workers first. And we recognize, as you do, Mr. President, the differences will remain between our two nations, but today is the start of a new chapter in trade relations between the two largest economies in the world. But I can assure the American people that this president will continue to stand firm and put America first, even as we forge a more productive relationship with China and with the world. Mr. President, you know there's an ancient Chinese proverb that says, "Men see only the present, but heaven sees the future." So let today be the beginning of a brighter future, more prosperous for the American people, the Chinese people, and the world. Thank you, Mr. President.
Great job, Mike. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. An incredible job. Incredible guy. I also want to give special thanks to our U.S. Trade Representative, who's been kept very busy. He's doing a lot of deals. We'll have another big one next week. It should get approved very shortly, and that'll be tremendous with Canada and Mexico. But we'll talk about that next week. But Robert Lighthizer, are we keeping you busy enough? Huh? Poor guy can't sleep. He tosses and turns. What happened to him?
I'm sorry.
Oh.
That was dropped, and
Oh, okay.
I'm all purpose.
Thanks. Mike, that's right, you are all purpose, come to think. But Bob Lighthizer is really an outstanding guy, gets along with people, he's smart, he's sharp, and he understands trade better than anybody. When I first took this, I said, I got to get the best guy. And all signs pointed to Robert Lighthizer, so thank you very much, Bob. Thank you very much. I have one question. Was this an easier job or a tougher job than you thought?
It was tougher than I thought.
I had a feeling you might say that. Also, our great Treasury Secretary, Stephen Mnuchin, has worked with Bob hand in hand, and thank you very much, Steve. Great job. So this really is a landmark agreement, but along with them, we had the exceptional efforts of Jared Kushner. Where is Jared? Where is Jared? Our brilliant Jared. Great job, Jared. He worked hard. He left a beautiful, nice, very prosperous real estate business and came here, and I can tell you that was harder. This is harder than real estate in New York, isn't it, Jared? Huh? But you've done a fantastic job. You don't get people like that, so thank you very much. And Ivanka, nice to have you here. Thank you, honey. Also, somebody that I've heard for 35 years, the voice is just a great gentleman, a friend of mine, but a great gentleman. We brought him in, and he has been outstanding. The only problem is he doesn't like going on television very much. He's a little bit shy about that. Larry Kudlow. Where's Larry? Where is Larry? We had a day where the market went down $1 trillion. Think of that. In other words, it was one of those few days because we've had 141 days where we hit all-time highs. And we just broke, as you know, we just broke the 29,000 mark on the Dow just now as we're walking in. Market's up substantially today. With all these business leaders, I'm sure they don't care. But Larry Kudlow went out into the beautiful lawns of the White House. Actually, he was standing in the middle of the Rose Garden. He had a beautiful scarf waving in the wind. He was everything perfect, right out of Greenwich, Connecticut. And he started talking. And by the time he finished, I said, you just made $1 trillion, $1 trillion. Because the market went up like 250 points. I said, Larry, what the hell did you say? And it didn't matter, but we were even. We went from being $1 trillion down to even, and that was pretty good. Larry, you've been fantastic. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And by the way, I just see in the audience our great ambassador to China, right? Governor. So we had the governor of Iowa, and he loves China. And you're the longest serving governor in the history of our country, like 24 years. And I called him. I said, Governor, you have to do me a favor. Because I remember one conversation I had with him. I was going in to make a speech before the election. And he said, "Sir, please don't say anything bad about China." It's the first time anyone ever said that to me. And I said, "Who is this guy?" "He's the governor of Iowa. He just said, don't say bad about China." So I had to rip up about half of my speech, right? And I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, we do a lot of business. I've been dealing with China for 35 years with corn and all of the different things." And he told me a story that was amazing. He said, 35 years ago when I started, I met a man named Xi. He wasn't president then. He was a young man. And the governor came back, he told his wife, he said, "This is 35 years ago, and it's documented." He said, "I just met the future president of China." And nobody thought much about it. And you know what? 28 years later, you turned out to be right. And you have been an incredible ambassador, and they like each other so much. So when it came time to picking the important position of ambassador, I said, "Haven't you had enough after 24 years being governor of Iowa?" He said, "If you want me to do that," and you've been a great help. Thank you very much, Ambassador. I appreciate it. What a great job. Nobody could have done that job better. A man, I think I can go on the opposite side of the spectrum, perhaps, from the governor. His attitude's a little different. Our trade advisor, Peter Navarro. Right, Peter? He's a little different. We have all types. We have all types. A deputy chief of staff, Chris Liddell, has been with us for a long time, and he's done a fantastic job and had a great business career. Commerce Secretary, a legend on Wall Street, Wilbur Ross. Where's Wilbur? Wilbur, thank you. A man who knows agriculture as well as anybody in the world. We were looking for an agricultural person. And we wanted to go political, and we were looking for somebody that would fit perfectly. And Sonny came in, and it was over. I learned more in that half hour about agriculture than Joni, right? Than I could ever have learned, possibly. Sonny Perdue has been incredible, and we're taking care of our farmers, that I can tell you. So, Sonny, thank you very much. Great job. Thank you. Thank you, Sonny. And a woman, transportation's going very well. She's done an incredible job. We're getting approvals down now from 20 years, 21 years to 2 years. And it may get rejected for environmental or other reasons. But we have it, Lindsay, down to about 2 years. A highway which would have taken 19 to 20 years to get approval, we have it down to 2, and we want to get it down to 1. And if it doesn't work, we're going to say, build it. But you're not going to wait 22 years to find out you can't build the highway. And she has been fantastic. Secretary of Transportation, Elaine Chao. Thank you, Elaine. Thank you, Elaine. So we have tremendous numbers of people here, and I'm saying, do I introduce them? But I think I sort of should, because this is a big celebration. And by the way, some of the congressmen may have a vote, and it's on the impeachment hoax. So if you want, you go out and vote. I'd rather have, frankly, it's not going to matter because it's going very well, but I'd rather have you voting than sitting here listening to me introduce you, okay? They have a hoax going on over there. Let's take care of it. So any of you guys want to leave, we will not be. Where's Kevin McCarthy, the great Kevin McCarthy? Okay, good. I'm glad. Can I be honest? I'm glad. I like it much better that way. And by the House, folks, 195 to nothing. And we got 3 Democrats, and one of them actually left the Democratic Party, came over Republican. And what a job you've done. So I just want to thank you all. Really tough. I love that. So we have some incredible people in the audience, and I'd just like to introduce a few. A very good friend of mine, 2 very good friends of mine. Sheldon Adelson, Miriam Adelson, thank you very much both for coming. They've been tremendous supporters of us and the Republican Party. And they're great people. A man who always liked me because he's smart, so smart. The great Lou Dobbs, at first he said, he's the best since Reagan. Then he got to know me more and more, and he said, he's even better than Reagan. Then a few weeks ago, somebody told me, and I watch all the time, but he's got a very important show, actually, tremendous audience, and everybody in this room watches. But Lou Dobbs, he said, he's the greatest of them all. I said, does that include Washington and Lincoln? And he said, yes. Now, I don't know if he was for real, but that's okay. But he is, the great Lou Dobbs. Thank you very much, Lou. Thank you. Great show, Lou. And a man who everybody knows, he knows more than probably everybody in this room put together. He's seen it all. And he made a statement to Jared. Jared came in and said, you know, Henry Kissinger told me, how did the president ever pull this off? I said, can I quote Henry on that? Because Henry is outstanding. And when Henry's impressed with something, then I'm impressed. And Henry, we're impressed with you. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you, Henry. Thank you. And Michael Pillsbury, thank you very much. And Susan Pillsbury, thank you very much. And you've been saying some fantastic things about China and about us. And we have a good partnership. This is going to be something that's going to be very special. We're going to talk about it in a second. A friend of mine, Steve Schwarzman, is here. Steve, I know you have no interest in this deal at all. I'm surprised you're not actually sitting over here on the ledge of the stage as opposed to... But Steve's done a great job and very good relationship with China and very good relationship with us. Nelson Peltz is here, a friend of mine. Where's Nelson? Nelson's around here someplace. Hi, Nelson. What are you doing sitting all the way back there, Nelson? How's General Electric doing, Nelson? He'll straighten it out. You'll straighten it out. He came in nice and late. He didn't get in too early, that's for sure. Hank Greenberg is here. Hank, if they took care of Hank, they wouldn't have had the problems that they had. Where's Hank? Hank Greenberg. Oh, Hank. If Hank stayed there like he should have, you wouldn't have had the problem that you ended up having with our economy. But it's great to have you, Hank. Thank you very much. We have some tremendous senators here and some really incredible people. And I want to just say the ones that are here, if I miss your name, stand up and I will promise to say it because a lot of people wanted to be here. A senator who has been new to the game and he took it up so quickly and so easily. And he ran a race that was undoable. The person he ran against was unbeatable. Nice woman, Heidi, but unbeatable. And then Kevin Cramer said, I can beat her. And I think he only won by about 12 points, right? And they said, he's the only man in North Dakota that can win. And I said, we'll do it. And I had him in my office 3 times. I said, Kevin, you got to do it. And I said, he's doing it. And he turned me down. Then he came back again. Well, this time I know he's doing it. He calls me back. He says, sir, I'm not going to do it. He said, you know, in all fairness, I'll call you back. But I never give up, do I? So now instead of being a congressman, he's a senator. And you've been great. And thank you very much. Kevin Cramer. Mike Crapo, a friend of mine. These are all warriors. These are incredible. Mike, thank you very much, Mike. What a job you do. Mike is one of those guys who goes unsung, but behind the scenes is nobody sharper, smarter. We all respect you and love you, every one of these people. Thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate it. Steve Dane, same thing I can say for my Steve, and he's got a hell of a football team. How did they do this year, all right? They going to be back? They won it again? They have a good team. They have a good team. Joni Ernst, you got ethanol, so you can't be complaining, right? Steve, that's good for you, too. You know, Joni would call me along with Chuck Grassley. They'd call us a tandem. You can't beat the two of them. All they want to know about is ethanol. Ethanol. But we got it done. Deb Fisher, same boat, right, Deb? You want that ethanol for Nebraska? And a friend of mine, Lindsey Graham, he's become a great friend of mine, and he's a outstanding man. He loves our country. He really does love our country. He works like hell. Do you do anything other than politics? He likes golf, too. He likes golf, too. Much better golfer than people would understand. He likes golf, but he's a great guy. You get it done. He brings people together. Chuck Grassley, where's Chuck? Where's Chuck? Chuck, will you stand up for a second? This guy's the toughest guy. He can say something in a nice manner and everybody's afraid, right? He made Comey choke during a hearing. He said, did you leak anything to the press? What? Comey choked like a dog, and he was being nice when he said it. Chuck is outstanding, unbeatable between you and the governor. Those are 2 pretty good ones, right? Unbeatable under any circumstance. He makes the rounds like virtually every night. I think you still have never missed a vote. Have you ever missed a vote? Chuck was, huh? Since 1993. 93. He was in my office a month ago, and I thought it was very rude. He said, "Sir, I'm sorry, I have to leave." Why? That was right in the middle of a meeting. I said, "Why?" He said, "Because I have to vote, and I've never missed a vote or something." I said, "How many years?" He said, 1993. It's a long time. I said, "You know what? Go leave. That's a good record to keep." Because he's a solid, reliable, unbelievable person, and he's a friend of mine. So thank you very much, Chuck. And let him know also about that ethanol, Chuck. We brought home the ethanol, man, when you have those two calling. They were not nice about it, Jerry Moran. I want to tell you, where's Jerry? Jerry, they were not nice about the ethanol. I want to say that. And Jerry, with what he did, we're working together, very closely together with the vets. And it's incredible what's happened with what we approved on choice. It's made a whole big difference. You don't hear complaints about the VA anymore. Do you notice? They go out and see a doctor. If they have to wait 2 months or if they have to wait 2 days, they go out and see a doctor. Jerry Moran, folks, he did a fantastic job. Rob Portman, great friend of ours from Ohio. Rob, fantastic job. I just left Ohio. They love you. They love you there, and you've done a fantastic job. And you are my friend. Rob Portman. Thanks, Rob. Pat Roberts, a man from Kansas who's going to be leaving us. I cannot believe that you're not running again. You have at least another 12 good, solid years in the Senate if you wanted to. You have to do it, you sure, right? Okay. He's made that decision. But Pat, thank you very much. And this is very important to Pat and to Mike Rounds, because what's happened here, if you look, it's so much about everything you stand for, especially the farmers. And the farmers are going to be so happy. Where's Mike Rounds? Mike, stand up, Mike. He's another one. He was brutal to me. He would call, "I got to get this done. You got to get it done," right? Thank you very much, Mike. Fantastic job. And Dan Sullivan from the great state of Alaska. And I stop there every time I can, right? And I won by a lot. Well, they like me in Alaska, right? But they like you too, Dan, and thank you very much. Kevin McCarthy, as you know, left for the hoax. Well, we have to do that, otherwise it becomes a more serious hoax. And Mark Meadows, a friend of mine right from the beginning. Thank you, Mark, very much. Special guy, special friend, great wife, too. His wife actually supported me long before him, but he thinks I don't know that. She went on Women for Trump when it wasn't so fashionable. Like in the worst day of my life, she was doing Women for Trump tours with 50 women on buses all over the great state of North Carolina. She's fantastic. Vern Buchanan, thank you very much. Thank you, Vern. Great job you've done. Mike Conaway, thanks, Mike. Thank you, Mike. By the way, Christy, thank you for being here. I didn't know you were going to be here. Thank you. Stand up. We're going to do a big fireworks display, right? Mount Rushmore. We're going over. I think I'm going to try and be there on July 4th. So the governor called. She ran a great race, a tough race. I was a tough competitor you had, right? A big star. But she was a bigger star, it turned out, Lindsay. But she said, "Do you think we can get fireworks back at Mount Rushmore?" I said, "Why?" They haven't been there for 20 years. I said, "Why?" Environmental reasons. I said, "You mean you can't have fireworks because of the environment?" "Yeah, environmental reasons." I said, "What can burn? It's stone. You know, it's stone. It's ground." So nobody knew why. They just said environmental reasons. So I called up our people, and within about 15 minutes, we got it approved, and you're going to have your first big fireworks display at Mount Rushmore, and I'll try and get out there if I can, okay? Right? That'll be great. Thank you very much for being here. Thanks, Christy. Mike Kelly. Where's Mike? Mike, thank you very much, Mike. What a friend. Drew Ferguson. What a friend. These are great people, I'm telling you. Darren LaHood. Darren, thank you very much, Darren. Great job. Michael McCall, you did a phenomenal job 3-4 days ago, Mike, with your speech on the floor. That was incredible, very inspiring. Patrick McHenry, number one, he's a great guy. Number two, he's got the best name in politics. If I had that name, I would have won 20 years ago. Patrick McHenry, a man who's got such courage. Honestly, he deserves a medal. He'll probably get one. We still have to win to get medals, though, right? We can't give medals if we don't win. but this guy's never lost in his life. He is so tough and so smart. Devin Nunes. Thank you. Stand up, Devin. Everybody knows it. What they put him through. What these phony people, what these dirty cops and all of the others put you through, and man, you survived it better than ever, and everyone respects you, and even Meadows respects you, and he respects very few people. So thank you, Devin, very much. Great job. Adrian Smith. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you very much. And don't feel, again, you guys are all set. I've introduced you. Not much more for you, but you're going to hear some great things about China, and you're going to hear some also great things now because we have a who's who of the world of business with us today. David Abney of UPS. David, where are you, David? You could stand up. Anybody wants to. If you don't want to, if your company's not doing well, you may not want to stand up. But UPS is doing very well. There'll be a couple that will just sort of slink back into their chair. They'll pretend they're not here. Thank you, David. Great job you've done. Darius Adamczyk of Honeywell, great company. Thank you very much. Great equipment you make. I have a lot of it. I use a lot of it, and the country uses a lot of it. AJ Banga, MasterCard. Thank you, AJ. Fantastic job. Josh Bolton, Business Roundtable. Thank you, Josh. Great job. David Calhoun, he's got a very easy company to run. He just took over Boeing. Where's David? David, where's David? Stand up, David. See, you didn't want to stand. Let me it's not your fault. You just got there. You'll straighten it out quickly, please? Okay, I have no doubt. It's a great company. Les Daniels, USTRACTPN. Okay? Dan D'Amico, we've been fighting the steel things for 20 years together, Dan. I'd like to say 30, but I don't want to do that. Right? We've been fighting together for a lot longer than 20 years. And now we're winning. Finally, took 25, 30 years. Took a little change at the top, didn't it? But you've been a warrior for getting really taken advantage of as a country. And you've been a warrior, and I appreciate it right from the beginning. Dan and I, it was a fight of two people against the world. Tom Donahue, U.S. Chamber of Commerce. And that's, where's Tom? Thank you, Tom. Great job. Brian Duperalt of AIG. Do you know that company, Hank? AIG. Do you ever hear of AIG, Hank Greenberg? Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Brian. Mary Erdos, J.P. Morgan Chase. They just announced earnings, and they were incredible. Where are you? They were very substantial. Will you say thank you, Mr. President, at least? Huh? I made a lot of bankers look very good. But you're doing a great job. Say hello to Jamie. I think we're seeing him tomorrow. Nancy Falotoko of Ford. Nancy, where are you?
All right. You have been listening and watching the President of the United States ostensibly to talk about this new trade deal, phase one of a trade deal that he is set to sign with the Vice Premier of China, who's actually, believe it or not, standing right next to the President of the United States, who has been speaking for quite some time right now. And what you just heard the President say is he made a lot of bankers a lot of money.